Pastoralist livelihoods have been considered as backlayed and primitive for a number of decades now, or even for a couple of centuries since the Industrial Revolution started, because it's low input systems but also low output systems. They don't produce much food per animal, not much milk, not much meat. So they have been marginalized and they have been turned away for more, they say, productive ways of producing animal source foods, but that are much less sustainable. So the research that I do explores how to incorporate the best of pastoralist livelihoods into a more sustainable world. Between 25% and 60% of the emerged lands, that is of the area of the world that is not sea, is used by livestock, and usually most of the cases it's used by that type of livestock use that has very low inputs and that relies on natural resources, and that uses mobility of the animals to take advantage of such natural resources, and that's what we call pastoralism. A lot of the actions that livestock has on the landscape are natural, and that includes not having so many forests. I'm talking about just keeping open natural landscapes open. I would like also people to understand better that the greenhouse gases that are emitted by the most sustainable livestock types are parts of the natural ecosystems, of the natural fluxes, and in that sense we cannot consider them man-made, and we probably cannot avoid them either. I think science in general is misunderstood by the general public because people take simple truths as a motto, whereas reality is much more complex. And you see it also, for example, in the campaigns to eat less meat. It seems that nobody is able to differentiate between types of meat and types of livestock keeping, which are actually very different in nature. The same way as for plants, you will have very sustainable production systems and very unsustainable production systems. And the most sustainable livestock production is probably much more sustainable than any plant production, but the worst livestock production is much worse than the worst plant production.